Good morning, everybody. This is Carrie at Best Friends Central. We are here for another episode 10 of the Confidence Conversations. And today we will be talking to Dagmar Meacham. She is a leadership coach and founder of Courage Space, and she is the creator of the Fall into Change method. And so if you are ready for change, then you're in the right place. So while we wait for Dagmar to log on and some of our other besties to log on at 11:30, get your questions ready for the best advice that you can find on leadership, how to break down your own walls. Dagmar specializes in helping people fulfill their dreams of success and finding their best self. And she's going to help us find out what's holding us back from our best selves. So there she is. She will be joining us in just a second. So hopefully you all, hi Dagmar, good morning.
Hi, Carrie. Good morning.
Yeah, so do we have a time difference where you are?
I don't know. I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
I think so.
Yeah.
No.
Okay, so I'm just pulling up my little notes here. I thought I was totally ready, and I am, but I want to see. Okay.
Okay. I'm not ready, but I'll just answer authentically.
You're not ready?
Well, I'm ready. Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Okay. So I did a little intro of you before you popped on. So you are Dagmar Meacham,
Yes.
and you are a leadership coach and the founder of Courage Space, and also the creator of your own method called Fall into Change. And we have so much to talk about that I think we're just gonna jump right in. And the first thing when you go to your website is a question. Are you ready for change?
Yeah.
It's so powerful and just so like in your face, but in a good way. You know, I mean, you really just put it out there right from the beginning to just get to the good stuff, right? To just get to the heart of what you do and how you help people. And so can you, tell me like why that is, why you chose to just really have that be front and center, the first thing that people see when they jump onto your website.
I think because, a lot of us want change. A lot of us want change. A lot of us want things to be different. But if we're not ready for it, we're going to not follow through. And, I learned that for myself. I learned that I wanted change. I had my life sort of hit the deep end probably about 5 years ago. And I just remember leading up to that, I wanted change, but I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready to take those steps. I wasn't ready to face those fears. I wasn't ready to deal with what I needed to deal with because it's big, right? I mean, we all know that. And so when I'm working with people, I ask that question because if you're not ready, it's not going to work.
You can put in all the.
I'm not going to check down. I'm not going to pursue you in your change. You have to be ready. You got to show up and say, I'm ready for whatever it takes. Because
so how do you know? Yeah, it's a process, and like it's not an easy one. But so how do you know when you're ready? How do you know when your clients are ready? What are, for people watching this or listening, what are the signs and the triggers and the things that they should be aware of to know how to answer that question if they're ready?
So I listen for personal responsibility and accountability. So if someone's blaming and if someone's saying, oh, it's this and them and it's because of that I'm here, and if I hear any of that, they're not ready because they're not owning their part. So I always do a discovery session. I get on the phone. Sometimes it's an hour. Do you want to do coaching? What are you looking for? And so I ask a lot of questions about, you know, what would it be? What would be different? What would you like to experience in life? What would, and all that. And through that, I can see whether they're blaming or they're ready. Like, I'm ready to do what it takes. And so I ask questions around, how committed are you? What are you going to do when it gets hard? And, so it's really probably in the questioning, but it's also looking at, are they looking outside for the change to happen, or are they looking in here? They're going, no, I'm ready to face whatever I need to in here to make the change that I want in my life.
Yeah, I noticed on your website, part of the dialogue that you have there is that you help people navigate, but you tell them you need to be ready to face your fears and your self-doubt. You say, go beyond what you know and dare to reach your full potential.
Yeah. We're afraid of our full potential. I think more people are afraid of how great they are and how great they're going to be than how they're not. I think people are afraid of their light because it actually goes against everything that they've believed their whole life. They have to prove that those beliefs they have are wrong, and that's all they know.
So we kind of grow up squashing that light? I mean, how does that happen? How do we get to a point in our adulthood where we're so afraid of our potential that becomes one of the biggest things that's holding us back from all the things that we want?
So I think, most of us, we come out of childhood, and it doesn't have to be from, crazy circumstances, but often it does. We're raised by parents who are imperfect human beings, as we all are, and they have their stuff, and we have situations that we grow up around, and between a 4-year-old and a 6-year-old, we make up our decision of who we are in this world. So who am I, and who am I in this? Who is the world? Who am I in this world? And we all have some version of not enough. We all have it. I'm not smart enough. I'm not good enough. I'm not pretty enough. I'm not valuable enough. And so everyone has a version that we have to, at some point face and challenge. And so that statement goes against, I'm amazing, and I'm an amazing human being, and I have so much light and impact to offer this world, right?
I love that. Yeah. And part of, I love that. I love that you say that, because that means that you really see that in other people in order to be able to lead them and teach them how to be a leader and how to get past those roadblocks and how to break down their own walls. And so that just is a testament to you and how great, just that you want to do that and that you see that in people. That's what I love about what you're doing. And so I guess tell us a little more about how you do that and what you're doing with Courage Space and your method.
My method really starts with, really finding out what someone wants. So, what do you want? Do you want to start a business? Do you want to leave your job? What change do you want? How do you want to feel that's different? What will that difference, what will the impact be on your life, when you have that? So really figuring out what someone wants and getting really clear, because sometimes people don't even know what they want. They just don't.
I was going to say,
they're like,
I just know what they don't want.
Yeah. So it's flipping them around to see what they want. And then what we do is we define, okay, so to say you want to feel more confident, or you want to change your job, you want to leave your marriage and make a positive shift and really take that, live your full potential. Well, what would that look like? So we make goals. We make about 3 goals that are typically very measurable. So, in a year's time, what will you be doing? Well, I'm going to be starting my new business. I'm going to be, I'm going to have left my old job and I'll know what my next steps are. Or I'm going to be operating at my, high performance state most of the time when I'm at work, or I'm, you know, those things like that. And then what we do is we define, what will that look like? How will you know? Because a lot of people go, well, I just want to feel confident, but they actually don't know what that feels like if they haven't felt it before.
Mm-hmm.
Or I want to find my purpose. Well, how will you know you found it if you've never found
So that's the part of the process where you're making kind of all three different things: the inspiring visions of success, the
yeah,
accountability framework, and then the measurable goals.
yeah, goals. So you have to have, like a reference point where you're going. Like if you're going on a trip and you want to get across to the East Coast, you have to know where you're going, right? You have to have a destination point. So we get clear on what the destination is, and then how are we going to get there? So, through the process is identifying what obstacles are going to come up. So, okay, you want to feel confident, you want to discover your purpose and discover that passion inside that you've never felt before. What's stopping you? And so often what comes up so often is, stuff from the past,
Mm-hmm.
beliefs that we have about that. And they're usually triggered by pretty significant events or childhood experiences, where people have to, forgive themselves, people have to let go, people have to step into that pain and deal with it and stop running from it. So yeah, I do quite a lot of deep level stuff, as it's almost like I feel like, in order for us to live our purpose, we have to have like a clear passage between our heart, our gut, and our head. And if
Mm-hmm.
there's our heart that's, you know, wounded, or there's shame around it, we have shame around ourselves, our story, who we are, it just stops the flow. There's just no communication, right? So I work a lot around, oh, I'm getting the goosebumps talking about it. I work a lot around the heart and what is around our heart, and clearing that up and talking about those difficult things, because it is through talking about it and sharing it with someone where you you lose the shame, because shame doesn't exist in the light, right? So
Mm-hmm.
as someone to talk to about those things and as listened to and heard and acknowledged, then they can move forward and they know how to move forward. So a lot of the work I do is actually that it comes down to, within the first month, we just, uncover sort of what's at the source. And then once that's freed up, and they can actually see that they don't have to feel shame about themselves, or they don't have to feel that pain anymore, they can let go, then they can actually tap into the information that's in their intuition, because we all know what our purpose is. We all know. We just are lacking the pathway to access that information, but it's inside all of us. I don't come up with it for anybody. They actually know themselves. So, yeah. And then it's just, working together, partnering, and overcoming those obstacles. And that accountability piece is, doing what you say you're going to do. So if you make an action out of one session saying, I'm going to go and talk to, 3 people about, this industry that I want to get into, or I'm going to go have that conversation with my husband, or I'm going to have the conversation with so-and-so, that's difficult because it's what I need to do. And if they don't do it, then we wonder why, so I'm constantly pushing them to do it. And the fact that they have someone that is sharing in their journey, most often they do it. Like
Right.
I'm not the kind of person that's, lashing somebody, but it is, and you celebrate your success when you do it, because they realize that it's actually not that hard. Does that
Yeah,
make
I love that. Yeah, no, it makes total sense. And I hear you saying all these things, and it's such an overlap with what I'm doing here. Everyone thinks it's just a retail place, but it's not. It's really teaching people how to heal, and it just so happens to be a little bit from the outside in, because
right?
the same thing when I meet them, similar in that I don't know necessarily what their baggage is. I just see them for them, and I see how beautiful they are, and I see their light, and then I just help them discover that, and You know, it's just, I'm so glad to be bringing people like you into this community where there's just all these resources to help people find their purpose and live their purpose, and have people that give them that invitation and have them be heard and seen. Because so many times people just need the invitation to say, it's okay for you to be amazing because you are amazing.
Yeah.
So I love that. I love to hear you say all these things and to know that you're helping so many people in these ways. And so I heard you say, you know, connecting the mind, the heart, and the gut. Because I mean, so many people, they kind of live in their mind, and they kind of put that mind over what's in their heart or what their gut is telling them.
Well, or they don't want to feel. They're afraid to feel it because it's painful, right? So if we have something painful in our past, we stay up here in our logic, or in our anxiousness, or in our fear, even in our breath is shallow. Anxiety is all about shallow breathing. So have the courage to go deeper inside and go, well, you know, what is that stuff in there that I've never properly dealt with? It takes a lot of courage, right? And I find it happens more so like there's an age group that I am now consistently working with, in our early 40s to sort of just over 50. And I find at this point in our lives, and you might agree, the stuff that you haven't dealt with, the baggage that we've been carrying, it just gets heavier and heavier. And it just shows up. It's like, we just can't hold it anymore. It's got to come out.
Is that what it is? You just get tired of being held back.
Yeah.
And as the years go on, you realize, wait a minute, no one's holding me back except for myself, really.
That's right. And also it comes out in our relationships. It comes out in our parenting. It comes out in all that stuff. And then it's actually, the source of it is way back, you know, but I feel like, yeah, it's this time in our lives to actually really, it's an opportunity to look at that stuff and not have it be affecting us anymore.
But I would imagine that for people that are watching that are younger than that, there's no reason to not start at any time, really.
No, if I had started, oh man, if I had a coach when I was 20, you know, yeah, it would have I would have gone on another trajectory, but at the same time, I wouldn't be who I am now. So yeah, I would highly recommend that. Yeah, I mean, to have that sort of insight around, you know, this blind way I was wandering around life and bumbling into relationships blindly at the effect of my own internal dialogue of not enough, or the hustle, right?
Yeah. So it sounds like through working with you, you're able to help people just be more intentional with their decision making, and that in turn helps them find that fulfillment, that purpose, that success, those things that we all really, really are striving for. Instead of, like you said, just bumbling around, kind of maybe, like, I know I'm guilty of living in like a scarcity mindset and that kind of thing. So
yeah, I think the intention, we can't be intentional if we don't actually know what's behind our intention. So, you know, like if we can get clear on who we are and what our why is and our purpose, then we can make decisions around, then we can be intentional. But I think you can't be intentional before you know what your why is and who you are level. So what I work on with people is really getting inside, who are you? What's your why? What's your purpose? What impact do you want to make in this world? And then you're in alignment. So you're in alignment with your head, your heart, your gut. You're in alignment with values, what's important to you, who you are. So what's your identity? You know, what's your identity without all the layers of stuff that's happened to you, your experiences, right? Because that's all layers, I find. So who are you?
Center, yeah.
Yeah. So without all the layers, who are you? What's the impact you want to make? What's your identity? what's important to you. And then when you know that, then you can make intentional decisions. But without that, you're just kind of like making random decisions based on other reference points, like what society thinks you should do, what your parents should, what your friends are, how you, maybe how you might feel more valued. It's like the hustle. You're sort of at the effect of hustling for something outside of yourself. Like Brene Brown talks about really a lot, the hustle for self-worth. And if you don't know who you are inside and what your purpose is, you're just using outside reference points to build your self-worth.
Right. And like you said, we know at some level, we know what that purpose is. We know what we desire.
Yeah.
So it's just getting to the center of that. And is that what that space, that courage space, is that what that is? Is that the alignment and really understanding what it is, what our alignment is? Is that that magic space, that courage space?
Yeah, courage space, is a few things. Courage space is the space I make for people to be courageous. So in order to have difficult conversations and share deep truths and shame and things that you've been carrying, you have to have a safe space to share that in with people. So the courage space is that space that I make for people to do that. And also, it's make your own courage space, right? Like make a space around you so you can be courageous and make mistakes and fall down and get back up and be authentic and be real and be all those things that you are, and make courage space for someone else, And I think if we were all more courageous, there would be a lot of less problems going on around. I mean, me the answer, because it's, but that's what courage space is. Yeah.
And so I know a lot of, the word courage, we may have different ideas of what that is. And so like for me, I use the word confidence a lot, on this series is called the Confidence Conversations. So for people that are going to tune in and watching now, could you just let us know what your definition of courage is, and maybe one way that like their sort of entry, foot in the door way to just start using courage, maybe like today?
Yeah. So courage to me is doing what you know you want to do. So like it's that feeling inside, something you want to do, but you might be afraid of, but doing it anyway. It's just, it's walking through your fear. That's what courage is to me. And we know things that we want to do that we should do in a good way, right? Like, starting that business or stepping out in the unknown and making change. And so that's, to me, courage. What was the second question? Oh yeah, how do you start? So for me, it was, what are those things that you're most afraid of? And look at those things. And if you could have like 7 seconds of courage, it literally is just 7 seconds of discomfort. Like it literally is. And that's how long it takes to ride the bull, I think, and you get it, the middle. Right, like it's 7 seconds, yeah. So it is literally 7 seconds of discomfort. That's all it is. Because walking through our fear is just emotional discomfort. You don't die. Right? We're afraid that we will. We were afraid of all these things, but we won't die. We just walk through it. So it's if you can last for 7 seconds and do the thing that you're most afraid of, and then start walking through that fear and start doing those things you're most afraid of, then you'll be able to be more courageous every time. It's like building a muscle. Mm-hmm. It literally is. It's a muscle. And the less you use, the more fear will run your life. And so the more you're able to step into it, it's literally just 7 seconds of discomfort.
So I know you've worked with people helping them get through that discomfort, mm-hmm. and learning that courage and building that muscle over these years. Have you seen patterns, like common things that come up that just so many people are struggling with, that you've just seen over and over and over again, that you've helped unlock?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's away from the fear. So that's why I developed that model. And and it's actually called Falling Through Change. And so I developed that because what I find is the hardest part of change is when it's the most uncomfortable, right? It's when the pain is sitting right there, or that truth about yourself, or the hardest thing that you have to face is right there. And it's probably the most painful, or most, it's when the fear has its biggest grip on you.
Mm-hmm.
And what happens often is people will just bail and just, you know, kind of retreat. And then they'll continue to live very unsatisfactory life. Like that's it. So what I developed is this model to, and it's a 4-stage thing to help people actually move through it. So, and if you follow that, you'll actually be able to go through it. And the better thing as well, and you know, on top of that, if you have someone that is helping you to push through, because you need support. You can't do it on your own. So,
Mm-hmm.
so the model is called FALL, FALL. And I think change is about falling, right? Because you're jumping off a cliff. Like you have no certainty. You can't see it. You don't know where you're going. You just
Mm-hmm.
standing where you were before. So when you're falling, the first one is to face. So face what you need to face. So, you know, like for me, the biggest part for me was when I left my marriage. I was in a very abusive marriage, and I had to face the biggest truth I had to face, or the biggest thing I had to face, was that my marriage failed.
Mm-hmm.
And then I took it on as I failed, because, you know, it's another story, but like my marriage was about me succeeding, and the success of it was all on me. And so I had to face that truth and challenge it. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
a failure just because I'm leaving my marriage. And I have to face that, you know, my whole life is going to be upside down, and that maybe the dream I had isn't going to happen. That path that I saw ahead of me isn't going to happen. So I had to face that. And the second one is accept. So accept what is and accept what is not. So accept that that's not the path. Maybe that's not the path for you. I was never meant to go down that path. So accept what it is, and then let that, you know, let the feelings come up and notice. The third L for let go. What do you need?
Mm-hmm.
So I had to let go of these beliefs that, you know, that a marriage was about me, like there was some sort of thing around like a project for me, right? Like I was a failure. So let go that I was a failure. Let go that I need to hustle like that to be loved.
Mm-hmm.
That I put up with what I put up with in order to be loved. Like I had to let go of these beliefs I had. And then I had to create new beliefs that served me better. And then the last L is learn and grow. So what do I need to learn here? I needed to learn that I keep walking into the same person, which is another version of my dad.
Mm-hmm.
I need to learn that I need to stop hustling for love and belonging and you know, self-worth. I needed to learn that I'm good enough just as I am. And I needed to learn that I needed to be alone for a little while. I need to learn who I am on my own without someone else. So there's all this learning, and then that's how you grow through change, you see.
Mm-hmm.
So when you can get to that last stage, then you're actually on a trajectory, on a positive place. And the key is to not quit anywhere through there. You have
Right.
to complete it, right? Because if you
Yeah.
quit, then you're going to just go back and
Right. You
change.
started peeling away those layers, and you can't stop till you get to that center.
And then once you get to the learning, then it's like, then you're, you know, oh, then there's like this awesome stuff ahead. Then life starts to get good again. But you have to hang in there.
Mm-hmm. So what are the red flags because sometimes, like you said, you're just living this unsatisfactory life, and that's kind of all you can describe it as. So what are the red flags for people to know that maybe it's time to start a process, whether it be yours or whether it be some other type of work, but the red flags to start stepping into that courage and make the change?
The red flags are really like to do a bit of a values assessment, you know, and if you're out of alignment with your values of what's important to you, then you need to make the change. So for me, yeah, I was out of alignment so much, like how I was being treated. Trust is a big value for me, integrity, uh, respect, all these things were so, like, is so important to me and in my friendships and my family. And my husband didn't do any of it. He wasn't, I wasn't receiving any of that. So it was like
Mm-hmm.
your values. Do some
Right.
values.
So just check in with your
Yeah,
values and
important to you and what are you not living? Like what
right.
truth about yourself, are you not living? And once you ask that question, it's the hardest question because then you have to deal with the truth and you have to face it, right? It's like,
Right. Then you have to decide what you're going to do with the answers that you get from yourself when you ask that question. And so when you do start to make those changes and to take that action and to have that courage, what can you look forward to? You said then life just opens up, right? So can
yeah.
describe, in a few words, like what then is on the other side
Oh
to
man,
compare to.
the best. It's like you're free. The chains are off. You're free. It's like you're free to just be you. The chains are off, the layers are off, and you can just step into, um, the freedom of life and all the good things. Like the universe starts dumping on you. I swear to God, I've seen it
In a good way.
over again. It happened to me. Literally, the universe is like, okay, now you're ready. Now you're ready. Here it is. And that just all these amazing opportunities come, but you would not have been able to see them if you tried to predict them.
Mm-hmm.
But they're things you never even could have thought of.
So there's buckets of abundance, really.
Buckets of abundance and yeah, the universe delivering. I think that's really all I can, like, that's kind of the best way to say it. All those
Yeah.
things that you really deeply want at a very deep level, they all start coming to you. But the
Wow.
universe is asking you to do the work first, you see.
Yeah. So that they
Not ready, or
can be
else
sure that you're ready. Yeah.
if you're not
Yeah.
ready, you will actually literally push it away. That's why I asked that question back to the beginning. Are you ready for change? Because if you're not ready, you're actually going to go push away what the universe is going to bring to you.
Yeah, I believe it. And so that was so much good stuff. I can't wait. And I know you spoke about your process, the fall process. And I want to let people know that that is available as a PDF download to
Yes.
start somewhere on your website.
Yep.
So, yeah. And,
Just go.
and there's so many other resources there on your website. So I encourage everyone to take a look. And so for those of you tuning in late, and this is Dagmar Meacham from Courage Space. So Dagmar, can you just let people know the best way to get in touch with you, your website, your contact information as we wrap up our conversation here?
Yeah, they can contact me via my website. I've got a contact form, or they can contact me my email, dagmar@courage.com. You can message me on Instagram. You can contact me on LinkedIn. I respond to all those. So, and I would love to hear from any of you. I offer free 1 hour coaching sessions as well. Yeah, reach out, Yeah.
Definitely. Well, I thank you so much. And you cut out there, so I'm just going to repeat. Your website is couragespace.com.
Yes.
So everyone that joined us today, thank you so much for being a part of this community at Best Friends Central and helping us grow and be a resource for everybody with other amazing people trying to push the needle forward and just be a positive vibe out there for everybody. And next week, we will be talking to Yaron DeWitt. He is a past life regressionist, and he helps us unlock authenticity by tapping into our subconscious. So hopefully you all can join us for that. I did personally have a session with him a couple years ago, and so we will get into that. It is amazing. It's just undescribable what he's able to do and what you're able to do personally when you do similar things to what Dagmar helps you achieve, which is a little bit of what you're really meant to do, what your purpose is, how you find that, and how you really find the courage to do that in life and live your best life. So Dagmar, thank you so much again. This was amazing, and thank you for what you do. And so we will see everybody next week.
Thank you so much, Carrie, for having me here. What an honor. It was fantastic. And what you do is so important too, because I think, you know, what we wear and how we choose to put on our clothes and how we allow ourselves to shine through physically is so connected to who we are inside, right? So it's
Yeah,
such a thing you're doing. Yeah.
it truly, it's important. So thanks again.
You're welcome.
We'll talk soon.
Yeah, have a fantastic day. Bye, everyone.
Bye.